Greetings, everyone. This is Rock and Roll Spot Connection with another event wrap up focusing on the Star Wars crossover event, War of the Bounty Hunters. Currently, we've just wrapped up month 2. So, what's happened? Well, we'll get into it, and we actually see that kind of have something of a reading order now. I'll kind of show you how I'm factoring out the reading orders. So every issue has a list going over what books will be available this month, as well as what's coming what's in the coming months. And so the order that these are listed in is the order I'm generally going by for a reading order. Anyway, we'll kick things off with Star Wars Bounty Hunters number 14. Where we left off here, we got 2 stories going on. One focusing on Valance and Dengar, the other one focusing on Tonga and Losha. So, Valance and Dengar trying to get Han Solo, each for their own reasons, though they're working together. I think it's kind of a case of they're both figuring they'll have to double cross the other eventually, but yeah. They'll burn that bridge when they get to it, basically. Tonga and Losha, meanwhile, have discovered are dealing with the syndicate they're a part of, the Mourner's Whale, decimated by, apparently, Crimson Dawn. Back with Valance and Dengar, yes, they're trying to double-cross one another, but they're also being hunted by an assassin called Deathstick. So, they're being tracked, but Dengar, they do manage to take cover. Dengar takes them to an old ally yeah. Station of the Mourner's Whale. Tonga and Losha are dealing with the assault, and are basically told, hey, do your thing. Are pretty much told to what's going on, and to watch out for Crimson Dawn, and as well as someone who's from multiple bloodlines that's important to the Crimson Dawn and the Mourner's Whale. Back with Dengar and Valance, we find out that Dengar is being basically blackmailed into working for Jabba the Hutt, as Jabba has Manaru, the woman he loves, held prisoner. But we get the history of the Crimson Dawn. But then Deathstick arrives. And apparently Dengar's associate has heard of Deathstick, and he's like, wait, that's who you're being followed by, and you came here? But, so yeah, Deathstick wrecks Dengar's associate's place, and Dengar and Valance do manage to make an escape, but only just. And they seem to have shaken Deathstick. However, Deathstick has been where they want them, and we find out that Kira's basically telling her to play with it. Is basically telling Deathstick to play with their food. And don't kill Dengar and Valance just yet. Anyway, next up we've got Dr. Aphra, number 12. So where we left off with Dr. Aphra, she had come upon an invite to the auction and was told to attend it as Dominic Cage's representative. And so Aphra and Sona do just that. Meanwhile, Just Lucky and Ariel Yu, well, their old mentor has betrayed a syndicate, and they've been tasked with assassinating them at the auction. So yeah, Aphra and Sana make their way in. We get a look at all the players, the Hutts, Black Sun, the Unbroken Clan, the Empire, though Aphra was quite pleased that the Imperial delegation does not include a certain tall, armored Sith Lord. Because, well, he would probably kill Aphra if he saw her there. But Aphra tries to steal a necklace of data crystals, but at the very least manages to put a recorder on it. You know, the old common pickpocket tricks, kind of bump into a person and, you know, take something. In this case, spill a drink on someone, and while trying to clean up the mess with the necklace. However, that doesn't work. But like I said, a recording device is placed on it. And so, Aphra's monitoring her the Black Sun person whom she's bugged when they are approached by a hooded figure. The voice sounds familiar. Sounds like a clone trooper. Basically, it's apparently a clone trooper. It's one of the old clone soldiers, but the old clone asks Aphra to cause a distraction because he's got something to basic mask him. Then Kira starts the auction. Meanwhile, Lucky and Ariel go after their old mentor, who it turns out was talking with the Feline that Aphra bugged. They duke it out as the auction is ongoing, with Java bidding 1 million credits for Solo, and his first sold until another guest arrives. You remember that guest I said that Aphra was glad wasn't there? Yeah, Vader shows up. And upon seeing him, Aphra actually has a bit of a panic attack. And that is where the issue ends. Which brings us to War of the Bounty Hunters, number 2. Which includes the events of Dr. Aphra from a different perspective. So we get some auction stuff with Crimson Dawn, watching over the various assembled parties, and we also get to see kind of the reactions to everyone, the fact that it's Crimson Dawn from all of these assembled groups, syndicates, the Empire, so on and so forth. Boba Fett arrives on the planet, finds some guests, and while attempting to use their outfits to infiltrate the auction, he's attacked by Bossk. However, Fett takes Bossk down, leaves him tied to a giant rock as a message, Don't get in, message being "Don't get in my way." Though keep in mind that the planet they're on is rather cold. Bosk is reptilian. Yeah, it's there's a good chance he's not going to survive that, especially seeing how he's already had at least one of his one, if not both of his legs blown off in the battle, in the fight with Fett. Well, the lower legs at least. But it turns out that the hooded figure that approached Dr. Aphra was none other than Boba Fett, who does quite clearly know who she is. But we see more of the auction going on, including the point where a bidding war between Jabba and Boku the Hutt. The Imperial delegation is led by Sly Moore, and Moore tells the officers with her that at one point there won't be any, manipulate everyone into not making any more bids after the Empire makes theirs. Of course, Hutts are immune to things like Jedi mind tricks and whatnot. So yeah, that doesn't exactly work. Fett, meanwhile, is going to do his to make his grand entrance, and runs into Chewie, Leia, and Lando. Just as Vader arrives and declares that Captain Solo belongs to him. So that's that. Which brings us to Darth Vader number 14. So Vader 14 actually takes place before Dr. Aphra and War of the Bounty Hunters. So in Darth Vader number 13, Vader and Ochi of and his ally Ochi of Bestoon fought and barely defeated IG-88, who had been hired by Sly Moore and her conspiracy. Well, Vader follows. First off, we had a lot of background from. We basically see Sly Moore go in the aftermath of the previous story and in the process of hiring IG-88 through the use of the conspiracy she's a part of. But IG-88 goes to speak to them when Vader shows up, and takes down IG-88. The weakness that IG-88 attempted to exploit for Vader was basically done away with, so it's now no longer a weakness that can be exploited. And apparently, Sly Moore is the one who informed Vader of Crimson Dawn's auctioning of Han Solo. And so, Moore was assigned to the Imperial delegation by Vader, with Ochi explaining to her that. That basically the whole thing was to humiliate Moore. In the efforts of truly showing the Emperor how weak Moore truly is. Also, it'll cause a little bit of strife with the Hutts as well. The aforementioned bidding war between Boku and Jabba. And that's all being explained as Vader makes his way in before declaring Captain Solo to be his. Which brings us to our next book, War of the Bounty Hunters, Jabba the Hutt. This is the first in a handful of one-shots. So, War of the Bounty Hunters, Jabba the Hutt, largely covers the fills in some backstory. So, when Boba Fett's taking a while to get to Jabba with Han Solo, Jabba has Bib Fortuna call Deva Lompop, a frequent bounty hunter. We then get a flashback, which makes up about half the story. Young Boba Fett is sent after Jarm Brock, with Deva sent along to assist Fett. But they work well together. Turns out Brock is an old flame of Deva's. In fact, Fett claims he kind of expected Deva to be the type to eat her exes, but hey. In the present, Deva is looking for information. Information on Boba Fett. But in the past, her and Fett defeat Jarm. Deva does at least somewhat betray Fett, but still, but Jarm ends up being killed, and his head returned to Jabba. And it looks as though Deva's the one who tipped off Crimson Dawn on where to find Han Solo, not Nar Shaddaa. But later, we also get the delivery of the invitation to Jabba, which, complete with the implication that Boba Fett had no intention of bringing Han to Jabba, but sold him to Crimson Dawn. And it also turns out that Deva has a long-standing, or owes Jabba a large debt, and not a monetary one. It's the kind that basically Jabba just to keep on making her do jobs for him on occasion, until not always, just occasionally, and then until he decides that the debt is paid. Which, knowing Jabba, more than likely means it will never be paid. And, well, yeah, Crimson Dawn, she's not too fond of that arrangement. And, well, Crimson Dawn seems to be a bit more forgiving, or a bit less open-ended with their debts. So, yeah. We also get an old and somewhat insulting nickname for Boba Fett. Apparently, Deva referred to him quite often as Pup. Which brings us to our last book for the video, Star Wars number 15. Where we left off, Lando, Chewie, and Leia had arrived on Jakara, while Luke was off with Starlight Squadron. So, we get the rescue mission that Starlight Squadron's on. An outer rim planet named Abdalis. It's explained that there was an orbital impact a few hundred years previously, Something came blasting in near light speed and smashed into the planet. Cracked the crust, left the surface tectonically unstable. Abdalis used to be a factory world, but it's been abandoned as too dangerous, which makes it perfect for a rebel rendezvous point. There's a spot near the impact crater's far edge of the resupply depot, some mechanical facilities for repairs. So, but they're under Imperial attack. And even worse, there's a Star Destroyer in low orbit that's basically preventing the liftoff of any ships. So, but much like with Echo Base, they have a shield up over the base. So, but they get sent a. Luke is sent a targeting solution. The Star Destroyer is basically over a mountain. So, but Luke goes for an attack run on the coordinates he's been given. He remembers the Battle of Yavin. Only it's not so much memory, so much as it's a vision. Starts off at the end of the battle. Luke barreling down the trench, in his X-wing, and Vader and his TIE and as well as two additional TIE fighters behind him. When suddenly Han shows up, takes out the two TIE fighters, knocks and causes Vader to spin out. However, this time instead of spinning away, Vader turns around and attacks the Falcon. And this causes Luke to miss his shot. However, one of the other pilots takes the shot. Turns out the mountain that the Star Destroyer was on top of was a volcano. The torpedoes caused the volcano to erupt and destroyed the Star Destroyer. So, the various rebel ships there managed to lift off, and we learned that aboard those ships is none other than Mon Mothma and Admiral Akbar. But Luke tries to get a hold of Leia. While he's on his way to Jakara, he asks her if he's okay, and he also mentions he had a bit of a vision, but things are breaking up, and so he's not sure if Leia heard what he said about the vision. But he explains that he thinks the Force was trying to tell him something. That Vader is coming after Han, and that is where the issue ends. That's it for month 2 of War of the Bounty Hunters. As always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Links to my Facebook, Twitter, Patreon, and PayPal can be found in the description box down below. This is Rock and Roll Spock signing off saying, live long and rock hard.